Did you know millions of car owners are unaware of driving secrets that could save their life when driving? And most people are ignoring these hacks, but don't worry. Because today, I'll reveal top secret driving hacks only the most experienced drivers know to make your life easier. Stick till the end, because number 1 is something you definitely do not know. Starting with secret number 15, the mirror triangle technique. Ever wonder why you keep getting surprised by cars in your blind spots? Here's the deal. Most drivers set their mirrors completely wrong, creating dangerous blind spots that could get you killed. Let me explain why your driving instructor probably failed you on this one. Here's how it works. Adjust your side mirrors so far out that you can barely see the edge of your own car. Sounds crazy, right? But here's what most people don't know. This creates a seamless triangle of vision where your peripheral vision, side mirrors, and rear view mirror overlap perfectly. No more head checking, like you're watching a tennis match every time you change lanes. Here's the kicker. BMW and Mercedes actually teach this technique in their advanced driving schools, and professional drivers swear by it. Pro tip, most people can eliminate their blind spots entirely with this setup. Test it in a parking lot. You'll never go back to the old way. But mirror adjustments are just the beginning. Wait until you hear this parking secret that could save your life. Trust me, this next one will surprise you. Secret number 14, the tire forward technique. Think you know how to park on a hill? Think again. Most drivers angle their tires toward the curb when parking downhill. But here's what driving schools don't teach you. This creates a dangerous launching pad if your parking brake fails. Here's the solution. Always angle your front tires straight forward against the curb, regardless of which direction you're facing on the hill. Let me explain why this works. It creates a physical barrier that prevents your car from rolling into traffic. If your brakes fail, your car will roll harmlessly into the curb instead of careening down the street like a runaway missile. Here's the kicker. Insurance companies actually consider this when determining fault in runaway vehicle accidents. But here's what most people don't know. Police reports specifically note tire positioning because it shows whether the driver followed proper safety protocols. Good luck explaining to your insurance why you didn't use this simple technique. Speaking of safety techniques that could save your life, this next distance rule will shock you. Secret number 13, the 4-second following rule. The 3-second rule is dead, and following it could get you killed. That outdated advice was designed for cars from the 1970s with drum brakes and bias ply tires. Here's the shocking part. Modern vehicles stop so much faster that 3 seconds is practically tailgating in emergency situations. Here's the real secret. Use the 4-second rule minimum and bump it to 6 seconds in bad weather. But here's what most people don't know. It's not just about reaction time. Let me tell you why this matters. Modern cars have ABS, electronic stability control, and collision avoidance systems that need space to work their magic. Give them room to save your life. The crazy part? Insurance companies are starting to offer discounts for drivers who maintain proper following distances using telematics apps. Your safe driving could literally pay for itself while keeping you alive. Now here's a technique that will give you reaction times faster than any safety system. This one is shocking. Secret number 12, the heel positioning technique. Here's something that'll blow your mind about pedal control. Most drivers position their right heel completely wrong, causing jerky acceleration, poor fuel economy, and reduced precision. Your driving instructor probably never mentioned this because they were too busy teaching you to just press the pedals. Let me tell you why this works. Keep your right heel planted on the floor between the brake and gas pedals, then pivot your foot to operate each pedal. Here's how this changes everything. This creates a stable anchor point that gives you incredible precision and prevents that jerky on-off throttle action that wastes fuel. Here's the shocking part. This technique can improve your fuel economy by up to 8% just through smoother inputs. Here's the kicker. Professional drivers and truckers use this technique religiously because it reduces leg fatigue and gives you millisecond precision during emergency situations. But here's what most people don't know. Keeping your heel planted also prevents you from accidentally hitting both pedals during panic braking, which could save your life in an emergency situation. Here's the pro tip. Practice this technique during your daily commute and you'll be amazed at how much smoother your driving becomes. But reaction time is only half the battle. Your steering technique could be putting you in danger. Here's something you won't expect. Secret number 11. The push-pull steering technique. Still gripping your steering wheel with both hands at the top. That's not just outdated. It's actually hurting your driving. Here's the shocking part. Here's the solution that'll make your daily commute way more comfortable while keeping you safer. Here's how you can solve it. Hands at 9 and 3, using the push-pull technique instead of hand-over-hand steering. Let me show you how this works. Push with one hand while pulling with the other, keeping both hands on the wheel at all times. This gives you maximum control and prevents your arms from crossing over the airbag zone. But here's the pro tip. This technique also reduces steering fatigue by up to 40% on long drives. Professional truck drivers and racing instructors swear by it because it maintains consistent pressure and control. Your shoulders will thank you after those road trips. Trust me, this next braking technique will completely change how you drive. Downhill. Secret number 10. Engine braking saves your life and wallet. Most drivers ride their brakes down hills like they're trying to start a fire. But there's a smarter way that saves money and could prevent brake failure when you need them. Here's the trick. Downshift and let your engine do the braking work. Whether you're driving a manual or automatic with manual mode, using engine compression to slow down reduces brake wear by up to 60% and prevents brake fade on long descents. Mountain drivers have been doing this forever, and there's a reason. Why? Let me show you how this works. Your engine naturally resists turning when you take your foot off the gas. By downshifting, you increase that resistance dramatically. Here's something you probably don't know. Semi-truck drivers call it Jake braking, and it's literally a lifesaver when your regular brakes overheat. Plus, you'll spend way less on brake pad replacements. Here's where things get really advanced. This rally technique could save you in an emergency. Secret number 9, the flick hack for emergency situations. Ever been in a situation where you need to change direction quickly, but don't have enough room? Rally drivers have a technique that could save your life. And it's surprisingly simple once you understand the physics. Here's what you need to do. Briefly steer away from your intended direction, then quickly steer back. Let me explain why this works. This weight transfer technique breaks the rear tires loose just enough to rotate the car faster than physics normally allows. It sounds crazy, but it works because you're using momentum and weight shift instead of just steering input. But here's what most people don't know. This only works at specific speeds and requires practice in safe environments first. Professional, stunt drivers and rally racers use this to avoid obstacles that would normally require a much wider turning radius. Here's the pro tip. Don't try this on public roads until you've mastered it somewhere safe. But if you really want to stop like a pro, you need to master this technique. If you made it here, kindly like the video. We got 8 more car hacks that will save your life. Number 1 will 100% shock you. Now for a secret you definitely never heard of. Secret number 8. Threshold braking stops you faster. Most people either tap their brakes gently or slam them to the floor, but there's a sweet spot that stops you, up to 30% faster than either technique. Professional drivers call it threshold braking, and it's the difference between a close call and a crash. Let me tell you the solution. Apply brake pressure progressively until you feel the tires just begin to lose grip, then back off slightly. You're riding the edge of maximum braking force without locking up the wheels. Here's the fascinating part. Modern ABS systems try to do this automatically, but they're reactive. You can be proactive. Here's the secret mechanics don't want you to know. ABS actually increases stopping distances on most surfaces compared to perfect threshold braking. It's designed to maintain steering control, not minimize stopping distance. Racing drivers practice this technique constantly because those extra few feet can mean the difference between winning and wrecking. Now here's an advanced technique that'll make you smoother than any automatic transmission. Secret number 7. The heel-toe downshift technique. This advanced technique isn't just for race car drivers. It can save your transmission and make you incredibly smooth in traffic. Plus, it's one of those skills that separates good drivers from great ones. Here's how it works. While braking, use your right toe on the brake and your heel to blip the throttle as you downshift. Let me explain. Why this matters. This matches engine RPM to wheel speed, preventing the car from jerking and reducing wear on your clutch and transmission. It takes practice, but once you nail it, you'll wonder how you ever drove without it. The shocking part. This technique can extend your clutch life by up to 50% in manual transmissions and works in automatics with paddle shifters too, even if you're driving an automatic. Understanding this concept helps you use manual mode more effectively. Good luck finding a modern sports car that doesn't benefit from this technique. But here's what really blows people's minds. This technique actually makes you safer during emergency braking. When you properly match revs, your car maintains better stability because the drivetrain isn't fighting against the wheels. Race car drivers didn't develop this just for speed. They needed it to avoid spinning out under hard braking while entering corners at ridiculous speeds. Speaking of techniques that seem impossible, this parking lot hack defies belief. Secret number 6. The key fob trick. Ever been stuck in a massive parking lot, frantically clicking your key fob like you're playing a video game, hoping to hear that sweet beep from your car? Here's a bizarre physics hack that actually works. Here's the solution. Hold your key fob against your skull and press the button. Your head acts as a conductor, extending the radio frequency range by up to 50%. It sounds absolutely ridiculous, but the fluid in your brain tissue literally amplifies the signal. The New York Times even covered this phenomenon because it's so effective. Here's the fascinating part. This works because your skull creates a larger antenna. Radio engineers have known about this for decades, but somehow it never made it into driver's education. You'll look weird doing it, but you'll find your car faster than anyone else wandering around clicking buttons like a lost tourist. Here's something you probably don't know. Your body is basically a walking antenna system. The high water content in your tissues conducts radio waves much better than air, which is why holding the fob against your chin or skull works so much better than just holding it up high. Military communications specialists use similar principles for extending radio range in the field. Winter driving brings its own challenges, but this positioning strategy beats any remote start system. Now for a secret you'd 100% wish you knew sooner. Secret number 5. The winter parking strategy. Most people scrape ice off their windshields like cavemen, but smart drivers use the sun as their personal de-icing service. This simple parking hack can save you 15 minutes every winter morning. Here's how you can solve it. Always park facing east during winter months. The sun rises in the east and will naturally melt the ice and frost off your windshield while you're still drinking your morning coffee. Let me explain why this works. Physics does the work for you. Solar radiation heats the glass and breaks the ice bond. But here's the pro tip. This technique works even on cloudy days because UV radiation penetrates cloud cover. Professional truckers and delivery drivers use this strategy religiously because time is money. Why waste precious morning minutes playing ice hockey with your windshield when you can let nature handle it? Here's the fascinating part. Glass absorbs infrared radiation much more efficiently than most people realize, and even weak winter sunlight can generate enough heat to raise the surface temperature above freezing. The dark dashboard behind the windshield acts like a heat collector, creating a greenhouse effect that accelerates the melting process. But here's what most people don't know. This hack works year-round for other benefits too. In summer, east-facing parking means your car isn't baking in the afternoon sun when you leave work, so your interior stays cooler. It's like having a parking strategy that adapts to the seasons automatically. Seriously, who needs expensive remote start systems when you can just work with nature instead of against it? But what happens when winter strikes and you're already frozen out? Here's your emergency solution. Secret number 4. The hand sanitizer. Deicer hack. Your car door is frozen shut, you're late for work, and you don't have deicer spray. Before you start kicking your car like it owes you money, reach for something you definitely have in your pocket or purse. Here's the trick. Hand sanitizer is mostly alcohol, which has a freezing point way below water. Squeeze some onto your key and into the lock mechanism, or rub it on frozen door handles. The alcohol instantly melts the ice and gets you moving. It's like having a portable de-icer that also keeps you germ-free. Let me explain why this works. Alcohol disrupts the crystal structure of ice at the molecular level. Emergency responders and paramedics have been using this trick for years when their vehicle doors freeze during winter calls. Plus, unlike some de-icers, hand sanitizer won't damage your car's finish or rubber seals. Here's something you probably don't know. You're probably carrying hand sanitizer anyway, so you don't need to remember to buy special products or keep them in your car where they might freeze solid. Secret number 3, the olive oil dashboard restoration, your car's interior. Plastic looks more faded than a 1990s photograph, but before you spend hundreds on professional detailing, raid your kitchen cabinet for this miracle solution. Here's what you need to do. Put a small amount of olive oil on a microfiber cloth and gently rub it into plastic surfaces. Let me explain how this works. The oil penetrates the porous plastic and restores the deep black color while providing UV protection. Just avoid the steering wheel and pedals. Nobody wants slippery controls during an emergency maneuver. Here's something you probably don't know. Professional detailers charge $200+ for interior restoration, but olive oil contains the same conditioning agents found in expensive plastic treatments. Car show enthusiasts have been using this secret for decades. The natural oils literally rejuvenate aged plastic at the molecular level. Here's the fascinating part. This technique works on almost any plastic surface in your car. Door panels, center console, even faded exterior trim pieces. The key is using extra virgin olive oil because it has the highest concentration of beneficial compounds. Some detailers actually mix olive oil with a tiny bit of lemon juice to create a super conditioning treatment that also provides additional UV protection. What makes this even more incredible is the longevity of this treatment. Unlike commercial plastic restorers that fade within weeks, olive oil actually absorbs into the plastic structure and continues working for months. Professional restoration shops don't want you to know this because one $4 bottle of olive oil can replace dozens of their expensive spray treatments. The science behind this is actually fascinating. Aged plastic develops microscopic cracks that trap light and create that faded, chalky appearance. Olive oil's molecular structure is small enough to penetrate these tiny fissures, filling them and restoring the smooth surface that reflects light properly. It's like giving your plastic a molecular-level facelift that reverses years of sun damage. Here's the professional application technique that separates amateurs from experts. Always work in small sections and buff immediately with a clean microfiber cloth to prevent any greasy residue. The temperature matters too. Warm plastic, like a car that's been in the sun, accepts the oil treatment much better than cold surfaces. Some professional detailers even use a hairdryer to warm stubborn areas before application for maximum penetration and restoration. Secret number 2, the reverse gear backup camera override. Most drivers think their backup camera is the ultimate safety tool, but it's actually creating a dangerous blind spot that could get someone hurt. Here's the reality check that driving schools won't tell you. Here's how this works. Your backup camera only shows about 20% of the danger zone behind your car. The lens creates a fisheye effect that makes objects appear farther away than they actually are. Here's the shocking part. Small children, pets, and low obstacles are completely invisible until it's too late. But here's the kicker. Professional. Delivery drivers and truckers still use the old school method, physically turning around and using all their mirrors plus direct vision. Your backup camera should be a supplement, not a replacement for actually looking. Seriously, who decided we should trust a tiny screen more than our own eyes? Here's what most people don't know. Backup cameras create a tunnel vision effect. Your brain starts relying on that small screen and stops processing information from your peripheral vision and mirrors. Professional drivers use backup cameras as just one tool in a comprehensive safety system that includes mirror checks, shoulder checks, and spatial awareness. Here's something that will absolutely shock you. Insurance companies have actually seen an increase in backup accidents since backup cameras became mandatory in 2018. The problem? Drivers have become so dependent on the screen that they've completely abandoned basic safety habits their driving instructors taught them. Professional driving schools are now having to reteach students how to actually turn their heads and look. The most dangerous misconception is thinking that expensive backup camera systems with multiple angles and sensors make you invincible. Even luxury cars with 360-degree camera systems have killed children and pets because drivers trusted the technology completely. Professional valets and parking attendants, who move hundreds of cars daily, never rely solely on backup cameras, no matter how advanced the system is. Here's the technique that professionals actually use. They call it the backup camera last method. First, do a complete walk around of your vehicle before getting in. Then use your mirrors and direct vision to back up slowly while occasionally glancing at the camera for reference only. The camera should confirm what you already know is safe, not be your primary source of information. Remember, that screen is just showing you one narrow slice of reality. Finally, here's the ultimate computer hack that could transform your car's performance. And the hack you all have been waiting for. Secret number 1, the throttle memory reset technique. Your car's computer is secretly learning your driving habits and could be sabotaging your fuel economy without you even knowing it. Modern cars have adaptive throttle systems that adjust based on how you drive. But here's the problem. They can get confused and stuck in the wrong mode. Here's the secret mechanics don't want you to know. you can reset your car's throttle memory by disconnecting the battery for 30 minutes. This forces the ECU to forget your driving patterns and return to factory-optimized fuel mapping. The car will feel different for about a week as it relearns, but many drivers report better throttle response and improved gas mileage. Here's the shocking part. This technique can improve fuel economy by 10–15% if your car's computer has learned bad habits from aggressive driving or stop-and-go traffic patterns. Dealerships charge $200+ for throttle body cleaning that often just involves this reset procedure. Good luck finding a mechanic who'll admit this free trick works better than their expensive services. Anyways, which one surprised you the most? Drop a comment and let me know which shocked you. And if you want more car secrets that'll make you a better driver, click this video.